Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney Morgan. If you're new here, make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe so that you know when I come out with new videos. October 1988. In New Orleans, a 13-year-old girl named Arkesha went to her school dance. When the school dance was over with, her boyfriend walked her to the nearest bus stop. She really didn't want to walk home that night because it was already dark. It was like 11 o'clock at night. But once they got to the bus stop, she told her boyfriend that he didn't have to wait, that the bus would be there shortly, so her boyfriend left. As she was waiting for the bus, there were two young men who walked up and asked her when the next bus was going to be arriving. Arkesha put her hand up to point in the direction that the bus would be coming from, and she told them it should be coming now. And as she had her hand up, one of the young men grabbed her by the hand and told her, "Do not run, do not scream, because my friend here has a gun," and that he had no problem shooting her. And then douchebag number one asked Arkesha if she had any money. So this poor girl reaches in her pockets and she grabs out $3 because that's all that she had. She hands it to him, and right after this, he snatched the necklace straight off her neck. So now that she's been robbed, they actually start dragging her away from the bus stop. They head toward the football stadium, and in the fence to that stadium, there was a hole. And this girl is terrified. She's absolutely terrified. She doesn't know what's going to happen. And the guy that's dragging her just keeps telling her over and over again, he's got a gun. He will shoot you. Do what we say. So they drag Arkesha through a hole in the fence into the stadium. And she's freaking out. She's like, "Why are you doing this? I already gave you everything that I had." And douchebag number one says, "Well, it's to make sure that you don't run." So confused and scared, at gunpoint, she goes along with it. But once they were on the other side of that fence, they told her to take her clothes off. The first guy took her under the bleachers and he began to rape her, while the guy with the gun waited outside of the bleachers by the fence. After the first guy assaulted her, she thought that it was over. He got up and he walked out, and the second guy came in and he raped her as well. After the second rape was over, the first guy came back in and he told her that she needed to stay under the bleachers and she needed to count to 100. And if she didn't count to 100, they would be right outside and they would know and they would kill her. So Arkesha did what she was told. She stayed under there and she counted to 100. When she was done counting to 100, she came out. She put her clothes on and she walked back to the main road where the bus stop was. Once she got back to the main road near the bus stop, she realized that she was really badly hurt. She said it hurt to walk, and she looked down and she realized there was blood all over her shorts. But terrified, she did what she could to put herself together and she started walking home. She actually didn't live far. She lived like 5 minutes from this bus stop. So she started walking home as fast as she could. And on this walk home, she actually started to think to herself how lucky she was that they didn't kill her. They had a gun. They could have killed her. All Arkesha wanted to do was get home so that she could find her mother and tell her mother everything that happened, because she said that she knew that her mother was going to make everything okay again. Her mother was going to make her feel better. So on this walk home, she could actually see her house, and she starts to head straight toward it when she realizes that there is a man on the sidewalk right in front of her drinking a beer. He's dirty. He is wearing a black jacket, army pants, and black boots. Arkesha does everything that she can to try to walk past this guy and not have any interaction with him, because she said that he looks scary. She didn't want to talk to this guy. She wanted to avoid him as much as she could. But unfortunately, this guy sees that she's super distressed. He stops her and he asks, "Where are you going?" And she had no plan on answering this guy. She wanted nothing to do with him. But then she says that he grabbed her and said, "Stop crying. Tell me what happened." So she thinks that she can trust this guy a little bit. She opens up and tells him, I was just raped. I was robbed. She thought that this guy would like sympathize with her and help her. She says that he truly sounded concerned. This man kept asking where she lived, who she lived with. So I live right there and I live with my mother and my family. So then this sack of shit tells her that he has a gun and that she needs to come with him. So he takes her to the closest building, goes behind it, tells her to take her clothes off, and then he rapes her for over 2 hours. What a piece of shit. This poor girl opens up to you, needing help, bleeding on the sidewalk, saying that 2 men had just brutally raped her and robbed her, and you go and fucking victimize her even more? What a piece of shit. Anyways, sorry for my rant. So after this man rapes her behind this house, he actually asks her, hey, did you hear about the woman that got raped and killed in this alley not too long ago? Yeah, that was me. Now Arkesha is freaking out. She claims that she's praying to God. She's just hoping that he'll release her so that she can go home and see her mother. Once he's done assaulting her, he actually leaves, which came to a shock to Arkesha. She thought that she was going to get murdered after this because he made it seem like that's exactly what he was going to do. So after he left, she got up, she got dressed, she walked as fast as she could to her house. Once she got home, she was walking up to the porch, and she said the lights came on. Her mother came out and was like, oh my God, what happened? Where were you? We've been out looking for you for the last 3 or 4 hours. After explaining to her mother, she grabbed her mother and she held her. And she said at this point she knew that everything was going to be okay. Her mother always made her feel better about everything. So her mother took her down to the police station where they filed their report. And actually 3 days later, her mother, and her sister were driving home, and they drove past a man in a black jacket, wearing army pants and black boots. She started freaking out. She said, Mom, that's him, that's him, that's him. That's the guy that hurt me. So her mother drove to the nearest payphone and called the police. The police showed up and they immediately went and arrested this guy. And if Arkesha hadn't been through enough, a week after his arrest, they get a phone call from the police asking them to meet the police down at the hospital. It turns out that the third guy who assaulted her that night was HIV positive. So to this day, Arkesha has to do blood work. It started out every 2 weeks, then it changed to every month. Now I think she said she does it once a year. Once a year she goes in and she gets HIV tested. Luckily, she has never been tested positive, which is freaking awesome because, this girl was bleeding terribly. So there was a really good chance that she could have gotten the virus, and she didn't. Unfortunately, the first 2 men that assaulted her that night have never been caught, never been identified. But the third man, they initially charged him with aggravated rape and kidnapping. But after they found out that he was HIV positive, they changed it to attempted murder. Because this is in the 80s. The HIV was a new thing and everybody was freaking out over this shit. Arkesha had to go to school, and all the people who had previously supported her and shown her kindness were terrified that she was HIV positive, so they wouldn't talk to her, they wouldn't go near her. They treated her like she was a disease. But the third man that assaulted her, he received life in prison. He actually died shortly after he was given life in prison, and she has 3 children. She's happily married and still no HIV. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, come back, hang out with me, let's chit chat about more stories, and I will see you later. Bye!